Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Commentary as Magic Stream on today's Sunday, February 16th, 2025. I am, as always, Grand Paws.
Big Cheese.
Arcat, and
I still don't believe that it's 2025, but for argument's sake, I'm Ivory.
You realize we're in the 11th year of this game now?
I can't count that high.
That's
So
my
old.
line.
Do you realize, don't confirm this, but I think the game has been commercially discontinued for longer than it has actually been, commercially produced.
I think we're not quite there, but I think we're getting close to it.
I think GP shouldn't type /played.
2019.
I do not type /played.
You just asked us to type /played, man. That's kind of what you did.
I did, but I didn't type it. I verbalized it. Yeah, so it's totally different because now the number is just a sound. It's not there visually confronting you.
So you're saying that this is the difference between libel and slander.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, legally checks out. Let's move on.
Nice, cool. So Slogfest. So it's that time again. That time when we stay up for 8 consecutive hours and review all the cards in the most recently released full set.
This is false because there's only 12?
Well, the problem is
things.
we got to catch up, 3 of us, because one of us has already done that.
Yeah.
You hanging in there?
He's looking at the spreadsheet. I don't even think he realizes.
What?
Yeah.
How jet lagged are you right now?
Very. I just flew in from Austria this morning. Wait, this afternoon. I don't know when.
What is time even?
Yeah, I'm
time
super confused about what time
Time is a figment of human perception.
That is a long flight.
12 hours.
Oh my gosh, am I the most pessimistic one so far? So far. Wow.
Just barely.
Spoilers. Anyway.
Speaking of spoilers.
Yeah. So a while ago we released these cards. Back in what, December? November? Something like that?
Should have been, I think it was December, yeah.
They were
what is
in
time?
beta around November, and then we released them officially in December for VPE, I think, is how we did it.
Thank you, Animoy. I really wanted to say it, but I opted not to, so I'm glad someone else did. Anyway, yeah. Cards came out. They have been played in at least one tournament. At least some of them have. Others may have undergone internal testing, and others might just be speculative. But we need to rate them. And we need to use our new scale again.
Our new scale? Our new old scale? Okay.
Our new old scale.
Alright. Let's pull up the monitor here. Okay. Card ratings, version 4.0.
That monitor is not centered on the screen, and it's triggering me.
No, it's not. But we're supposed to have like a talking head off to the left or something.
Don't say it again, otherwise he's going to move it even farther over.
He will. Like, it'll cut off actually part of the frame of the... Don't do it.
Can I do that? Nah, it's too annoying.
No, don't do it.
Okay. So our past rating systems were maybe a little bit inconsistent because they started switching between game and meta impact. And version 4.0 of the rating system has this maybe a little bit more combined. So we're looking at 2 things, which is most cards have a type of deck that wants to use them. And within those type of decks, we're going to ask, cool, how relatively useful is this thing? And maybe not beyond that deck, but how useful is this thing just kind of in general? And so both of these things go into considerations here when we give a card a rating. So if something is really, really good, but the deck it goes in is bad, then it gets a bad rating because it's really good for that deck, but it's not very good for anything else.
Right.
Conversely, if it goes into a a very high performing deck, but it doesn't do much, then, well, it could fit in there, but let's be honest, you're not going to run it. So, again, bad rating. On the other hand, if you've got a really, really, really good card that's so incredibly good that it powers tier 0 decks, it gets banned. And that's what we call a 6.
Yes, but Aura still spite rates those zeros.
No, I
get banned.
Exactly. Therefore, the card has 0 meta impact and cannot go in the deck.
Lol.
No, it's actively harmful because if you run it, you get DQ'd.
Exactly.
We've been over this, in fact.
I'm actually preemptively bumping up my first score. We haven't even gotten to discussion on all this yet.
Amazing. Okay, so the scale, as usual, is 5-1, with 0s and 6s being stuff that is just like, this is going bye-bye because we're going to ban it, and 0s being stuff like, why are you running this? Like, don't run this.
The end goal of this new scale is that, in general, card ratings are going to tend more towards the middle than the far extremes, because in order for a card to actually have a high rating, both its performance or utility, as well as its home deck's strength, both need to be exceedingly high or exceedingly, really just exceedingly high. You're going to see ratings lower on average. That's okay.
But same thing as last time. And in each category, we have a handful of examples of the kind of cards that you would expect to fall into those categories. But with that, let's look at some cards.
All right. Card number 1. And it is card number 1 for me. Shining Armor Forward Commander. Unicorn Royalty Blue main with home limit 3 on the start side. When an opponent plays a card, you may discard a card with the same type to turn this card over. Boosted side, 3 power, 4 home limit. Immediate, discard a card with power 4 or less. Let me tell you, there's never any bit of more important text on this card than that number right there. To choose Swift, Agile, or Competitive 2, and if this card doesn't have that ability, it gains that ability until the end of the turn. Okay, bad stuff first, right? This is a card whose flip condition is entirely within your opponent's control, unless you have built your deck accounting for that. So if your opponent happens to have, say, a Buckball strategy and a Grogar main, or Growcord main, you might lose.
That's a cool main you got there. Shame if it never flipped over.
That being said,
I'm gonna just go over here and start, confronting.
Outside of those very rare circumstances,
And
your
never
opponent is...
play a card.
Yes. Your opponent is very likely to be playing something eventually, and as soon as this card flips, it's off to the races. Blue has had a number of cards waiting in the wings for discard synergies. Blue-purple obviously comes to mind immediately. It's probably the strongest, just straightforward aggro list that you can play with Shining Armor. But orange has discard synergies. Pink has draw and discard synergies. Yellow is, quick for aggro, and even that has some cards that care about discarding. Also, just being able to have a Swift and Agile main is...
It's a little bit busted. Like, we've been over this, okay? Like, in Limited, even, you have just having Swift on the main is, hey, look, here's a 3-power body that moves for 1. It just makes your life so much easier.
It's pretty good.
I mean, you think back to the days of Pegasus Explosion, right? And just having Rainbow Dash, having Swift on her boosted side was really, really good. You think of the first Shining Armor main, right? And it had Swift on its boosted side, I believe, which made it really good.
The Shining and Cadence.
It had
Yeah.
it had
did, yeah.
Swift on the Cadence side.
Oh, was it? Well, yes. Well, Shining has learned from his wife. And has decided that he's exceptionally good at throwing things in the trash.
Impressive.
That was not where I expected that to go, but okay.
I mean, he is discarding cards right in the trash. If you want an example of what this deck can do, you can go back and watch some of the games or hear some of the commentary from Vancouver, as I believe that was the first tournament we had where Shining was actually legal. And Daybreaker is a silly card. Gallus gets up to 18 power, and Blue-Purple does value stuff.
Correction, Gallus gets 18 plus power because you stopped counting at that point.
That's true. I did stop counting at that point.
There's a little bit of power on this Griffin.
Yeah. I think there's options for Shining in a number of different colors. And so I think that gives him a great deal of utility, but I think he's probably the standout option for blue aggro. And apart from the fact that if you're not including tech cards, his only option for breaking through troublemakers is going to be, that competitive too. Still isn't bad. I think he's great. And I think the meta is really going to have to adapt to him because we haven't had a deck go this fast in quite some time. So I'm giving him a 4.5.
I wanted to give him a 5, but he does tend to struggle a little bit against pure farm, especially with Grogar, like you said. So I have him at a 4. Very powerful. I plan on using Shining Purple myself.
No, that's about it. He's not going to be that great at dealing with counter farm and maybe not farming himself, but you've got a trick. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, I gave him a 4. He definitely does things.
He gets a 4.
All right, and Bugle's rating was also a 4.
For basically similar reasons. He says they'll just keel over to farm sometimes, but, that happens.
Yeah. I mean, I do think he kind of sort of defines the deck he goes in, but...
I mean, that's also fair, because right now, this is your option for aggro.
For mono blue? Yeah, kind of, right? You've got Flight Instructor who can get some movement chaining going on, but there's just so much more value to be had with the discard packages for reasons we'll talk about in a couple cards. Don't worry about it.
All right, fair enough. Any final comments here? Or shall we move on to our second contestant of the day?
Let's move on.
Good. I'm tired of looking at his weird, shiny face.
Yes, let's look at this perfectly normal face instead.
It's cheese sandwich.
It's your namesake.
Yeah, super duper party pony. Yes, so on the start side, at the end of your turn, if you played a friend and an event this turn this card over. Boosted side, when you play an event, put a 3-power colorless unique critter friend token named Boneless into play. While this card is with one of your friends named Boneless, this card has +2 power. So I played this at Vancouver, and definitely interesting. Built right, you can pretty freely move your Boneless around, and the 3 power is nice. The +2 power is, it costs paying 2 to move cheese is a lot. Sometimes it's worth it, but a lot of the times it's not the best.
One for 3 is better than 2 for 5.
Yeah.
We have gotten so
plus
spoiled.
A bit more.
We have gotten so spoiled, seriously. Sitting here saying, man, using the base game action to move cards.
That's so, passe.
It's so expensive. I don't want to pay 2 to move. But
I
yeah,
mean, yeah.
so I was running yellow purple with what's the
Pegasus
Pegasus
Railguard.
Railguards. Yeah. And it's fun. Like you play lots of friends and Boneless is a friend entering play. You can do some shenanigans.
Get some Flutter Swarm going on too. That's pretty gross.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite things I've seen so far was Diamond Song, who had a deck relying on yellow, white, like token copying with infiltration orders and some other cards like that, and it splashed into pink to run Tricorn Thorax so that your friends wouldn't have unique, and then just started playing a bunch of cheap events and making an army of Boneless, which were no longer unique, and it was terrifying.
Oof. Yeah.
That was something to witness for sure. When they're just like, so I have like 15 power. I spent 2 action tokens to do this. It was cool.
It's a little ridiculous, yeah.
Nothing bad happened.
Yeah. So you tried it in yellow purple. After seeing that, what are your thoughts on Cheese overall, Cheese?
I think he has potential, but I have him at a 3.5. So far from what I've seen, the other decks are just better. He's kind of a tier 2 deck or tier 2 main, but
I think he's a solid 3. The decks that we've seen him in are good. They're just not like tier 1, like you said. The deck where Cheese Sandwich really thrives and has not been discovered yet, to my knowledge, or at least it hasn't been shown publicly. It's not like Shining Armor where we already know exactly what cards you want to run with this main. Cheese Sandwich has a little bit more experimentation to do. I'm sure someone will find something, but for now, I think he's a solid 3.
There is something there. There's a 3/5. Do I know what it looks like? Absolutely not.
I've also got him at a 3.5. I think previously I would have had him at a 3, but there's this little event coming up soon called Invitationals, which we've been messing with. And while I'm not planning on playing Cheese in core, let me tell you about Mono Cheese Farm in Adventure. There's something going on, so we'll see how it goes.
Concerning.
3.5.
yeah. I mean, +3 power and a face-off randomly. Or not quite randomly, but
Getting a body at a problem at immediate speed to challenge. Yeah, there's stuff you can do.
On top of whatever that event does in the first place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Extra flip plus, yeah.
And 3 power.
Okay.
Let's just win more. I like winning more.
Bugle's got it at a 4. It says Cheese is his personal favorite of the 2 mains, but also probably a little bit weaker, but it is more resilient. I mean, yeah, that's true.
Okay. Let's talk about Postal Griffins.
I think Ivory was just saying something about, with Shining, we all know exactly what cards go in it.
So, cards like the kind that come in the mail? Okay. So, here's your local friendly neighborhood mail griffin. Gabby, bulk postage, 2 power, 2 cost, 2 blue rec. She's obviously a griffin. At the end of a player's turn, you may exhaust this card and discard all the cards in your hand to draw 4 cards. That does not say your turn, that says a player. So, if you dumped all of your events messing with your opponent on their turn, you get to discard 0 and draw 4. That's not bad.
I think you could even go so far as to say, hey, that's pretty good. She is not unique. She's cheap. She gives you flexibility for when you want to use her. Like you said, are you holding a handful of interaction and somehow ended your turn with action tokens? Well, great. You don't have to use her yet. Is your hand complete doo-doo and you need a reset? Well, go ahead.
What's
Do you
that?
have no cards left in your hand and you just want to draw 4?
What's that? A mailbox full of like bulk advertisements? Well, let's just throw that away. Bad news, she might bring you a bunch of bills.
She might. Well, she'll also bring you those lost letters, those messages from the past.
Let's see what you did there.
Also, this is a blue friend exhausting, which means that Bottled Dragonfire can exhaust to draw a card, so you can actually draw 5 with this, which is really good. Do you ever just, like ending your turn and then almost drawing a full starting hand again?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
There's another Gabby that does somewhat similar.
I think that Shining Pink can definitely lean into the Gabby support and just start churning through its deck at a pace that I honestly don't know if any other deck will be able to match that.
In Adventure, could you run like both Gabbies and they both trigger at end of turn, right? And
Yes.
so you could well, depending on how many cards you had in hand, but you might like use the first one to draw up to 4 and then be like, oh, I don't like these cards. Let me
And
try
then use this
again.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
She's a silly bird. Have a 4.
Yeah, she can definitely have a 4.
Yeah, I think she definitely defines.
She's gonna bring you a 4.
It's a very important card for the deck she goes in. Or decks.
Yeah. Expect to see her in every Shining Armor deck.
Bugle also gives a 4 with no notes.
4, no notes.
Yeah, like, it just means it's true.
Yeah, kind of.
Amazing. Okay, next card.
Okay, what do we got here? Brayburn, Small Town Hospitality. 1 cost, 2 orange rec, 1 orange power, Earth Pony Friend. This card can't be frightened. Counters aren't removed from your friends as they become frightened or turn face down, and you may pay 1 less to rally friends with at least 1 counter on them. Well, this will certainly answer the frightened package.
Welcome to Appaloosa.
Did
Those
we not set...
those Grogar's layers annoying you?
Did we not set a floor on this?
Nope. You don't need those.
We didn't put a floor on this.
No. No, we didn't.
No.
It's
so
fine.
If you've got it might actually not be fine. So if you've got 2 of these, that means you can rally stuff for free, and as long as you can produce more value from the ready, the unfrightened and ready cycle than it takes to frighten them,
that might actually break real fast, particularly in Harmony.
Okay, well there you go. Free Harmony combo bait. Have fun.
Okay, yeah. Sixth.
Really?
No.
I was gonna say, it's not that good.
I mean, in Harmony, it's gonna be crazy, but
in Core, I don't.
I mean, your opponent has to be frightening things, unless you're doing the stupid uniqueness thing.
You can frighten
your own stuff, and this card can't be frightened, so. But I don't think there's any mass frighten in Core right now.
No, I'm not worried about this.
There are
That's
villains.
that's not going to cycle fast enough, though.
Yeah, it's not repeatable. Maybe, I don't know.
There's probably something here in Harmony.
Go
I'm not
find
worried about
something
this
and then we can fix it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about this in Core.
In Core, it's actually really fun for a lot of mid-range lists because I don't know if anyone has played in Core at either Everfree or PDCF or Van Hoover. Blue's kind of there, and it's really kind of rude.
Yeah, the Frightened package is great.
The Frightened package is great, and it's really irritating when you're trying to sit there and build up this board and be like, yeah, I've got my Ruby Jubilees, and I've got these
Got all this
counters from
cool
Sunny.
stuff, and it's all orange and huge, and it's cost a lot of tokens to get it all out. Oh, and my opponent just removed everything.
And it's gone. Yeah. So
I'd be ashamed, because here in Appaloosa, we don't do that to pipe ponies.
it's also especially rude because you get to just shut all of that down for one action token. It's a nice little bit of protection. Is it small? Sure. But, he'll get bigger. Don't worry.
Sadly, I do think Brayburn does kind of just exist in the sideboard in most games, but he will absolutely do work when you need him.
Yeah, he's getting a 3.5 because this is, as Bugle says here, this is just a sideboard card, but a strong one. There are matchups that if you're going into them and you're in orange, you're going to want to run a rack of these things, probably. Because blue is rude.
He is a sideboard card technically, in that if you were up against a deck that you knew was not blue, he would probably be one of the things you would remove.
Yes.
That being said, there's so much blue out there right now that I think you're going to leave him in more often than you're going to take him out.
3.5.
Yeah, he can have another half a point for that. 3.5 from me.
Yeah.
Do it, Philly.
Sure.
Do it, Philly.
3.5.
Yeah.
3.5.
I'm not budging.
That's
Now
fair.
I can't change anymore because I like my number.
Yeah.
Amazing. We'll find something that you disagree with.
You haven't added your boneless rating yet, which we'll get to.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot about that.
We'll get to that. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, and you're giving him a 3 as does Bugle? Yep. Okay. Next card.
All right, Mod Pi Concrete Bond. What is this stat line? 2 cost, 4 power, 3 rec. With upside? Jeez, power creep. While this card is in your discard pile, cards with names other than Mod Pi Concrete Bond can't leave your discard pile. As this card leaves your discard pile, you may pay 2 to put a friend from any player's discard pile into play under your control. If you do, banish this card instead of putting it anywhere else. What does this mean? 2 things. Do you care about your discard pile? Great, fantastic, you have protection for it. Second thing, do you care about manipulating your discard pile? Great, awesome, get back something huge. And, maybe run it in Yonabar just in case because it's 2 cost 4 power, which actually makes it 2 cost 6 power.
Kind of silly. And then, yeah, here's your reanimation tool, by the way.
Yeah. It's a nice little bit here.
Also, you can use it to pull stuff out of your opponent's discard.
Yes, you can. If your opponent happened to find their copy of Spike that you really wanted first, well, okay. You can do that. Are you tired of your opponent having Canterlove Factory and messing with your discard, or Spirit Siphoning you after milling you and drawing a bunch of cards? Well, you can stop that. Do be careful though, because if you have this card and something like Golden Parachute in your discard, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah,
So
don't do that.
So it's got this beautiful Nanbo as a reanimator card.
Yeah, it's a little weird. That being said, I think that there's enough utility with a pink-white reanimator list focused on also running Royal Family, because you can just choose to get this, into the top 5 of your deck with Izzy, except I'm actually not getting this in the top 5. I'm reanimating something from one of our discard piles for 2 actions and exhausting my main. It's pretty good. And if I happen to have another one, chuck it in there, right? It's an Earth Pony. You can get it back with Earth Pony Crystal, so it works that way too. Like, there's applications. And pink-white is probably the best home for it, but white-orange can also do things. I think that's all fine. But we don't have Bodyguard anymore, so she's a 3.
Really? That's all? That's why she's a 3 for you?
Yep, sure is. I'm not even being sarcastic right now. If we had Bodyguard, I think the deck would rank higher, because I
If
think
we
that
had
was something that
Bodyguard,
carried.
this would probably be a 5.
I
3/5.
Have a 3/5.
I think she's better than a 3 or 3/5. For one, I mean, we already touched on the reanimator aspect. This is obviously going to be in the pink-white reanimator list that we've seen more recently. This absolutely is going to go in mono white, though, just for the stat line alone. Even if she's not going to actually use her actual effect text, 2 costs, 6 power when Yonabar is very strong. I think she's good enough to stay a 4.
Yeah.
And mono white typically does well, and pink white also typically does well. So maybe help them do a little better.
2 cost 6 power is pretty good.
That's probably
And
fair. There's decks that don't care about the text on her and are just like, that's a nice stat line, and just ignore everything else about it. And there's decks that are like, that's a nice stat line, but that effect, I just can't. And then there's decks that are just like, Reanimator's annoying. I'm going to run this just because it messes with my opponent as a sideboard card. You know what? Fine, have a 4.
It's a good card.
It's a good enough card in Yonabar, and I do think Yonabar has been missing a little bit of power. She can have an extra half a point for white aggro. That's fine. I forgot that we changed the stat line to reflect that, so. Alright. There.
I'm less unhappy now. Okay. Next card.
They're so happy.
Some left shark energy.
There is no left shark.
Which one?
Energy here. This is all right. This is right shark energy. All of it. Except for Rumble.
It's all you.
Yeah. Blank flakes forever. Yay. 3 power. Sorry, 6 power, 3 cost. It's a song. Choose one. Put a token copy of a friend with cost 2 or less into play. Put a token copy of a resource with cost 2 or less into play. Or copy the effects of the last event with cost 2 or less you played this turn. It lets you make copies of things. Which
there's a lot of stuff in the 2 cost range that is worth making copies of.
Interesting.
And if you look at this as a reanimation tool, sure, whatever. 3 isn't that bad.
Yeah. We have. I'm trying to remember what cards we have that care about songs in core right now, because we no longer have the spike that lets you use the multiple ones, right?
We no longer have the spike that lets you use all of them. But we do have Twy that lets you use an additional verse.
Yes.
Pylarina and was Cheese Sandwich a Friends Forever card?
Which cheese sandwich?
There's one of them that gets bigger with songs.
That was Dance Fever.
I think that's in core.
Dance Fever from High Magic?
Yes, no. Dance Fever from High Magic.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
There is
Oh,
also
yeah.
there is also Octavius.
Octavia, yeah. Yeah, because just like paying 3 for one of these effects is it can be useful and it can be worth it, but it's kind of a lot.
Oh god, Animoy's right. This is just like, oh no, you've gotten rid of my pile of presents. It's a shame that blank's forever. And you're dead.
I mean,
This does help Pile, although it's too expensive, I think. But
it's only 1 AT more, and it's copies 4 through 6 of Surprise Party.
yeah, that's true.
And it's colorless.
That's true. It is expensive though. But yeah, I think if you're like able to use 2 of these verses, that's real good.
Yeah, 2 is going to be crazy, and let me tell you, there is definitely a place for this with Octavia as well. If you liked what Octavia and Twilight did in Adventure with Mill and all those songs, well, there's something kind of like that exists in Core right now, and it uses this. And you know what? Pages just used it at VPE, dropping Connection Corkboard to run this instead. The flexibility of this card, even though it's a higher cost, the fact that it has no requirement, gets you all these effects, it's good.
Yeah. I have it at a 4.
Yeah. This is a 4.
Yeah, I also have this at a 4, I believe.
You know what?
There
Fine.
we
On the
go.
count of 4. Fine. Bugle's
Bugle
also like
has
4, no notes.
Flank's 4 ever.
Yeah. Okay. Premonition, 2 power, 2 cost, no Rex. Main phase, choose a friend or resource with cost 2 or less. At the end of the turn, dismiss that friend or resource. So, pink gets resource removal, but it's on a timer. But it gets resource removal, but it's on a timer.
So does blue. So does orange, who actually just has nothing right now.
Is this the correct number? Yeah, okay. And I somehow mixed numbers up on Ponyhead, so if you're looking at lists with Premonition or Blank Flanks Forever, then make sure you're actually using the right one.
Fair. I'm going to use this in harmony with Exploding Vinyl.
That's funny and rude.
Yeah.
It seems amusing. It seems amusing, right?
Yeah, it's just a shame that you can't drinking duo into belly flop into exploding vinyl for ultimate rudeness.
Ugh. But how are you going to dismiss the... Wait, does Belly Flop have to dismiss an opposing friend, or...
I'll
can you dismiss one of
borrow
your own?
something, retire that, and then dismiss vinyl.
Right, but if you control Vinyl...
I thought it let you hit your own stuff. Maybe
I don't
I'm
remember if it
misremembering.
does. I
Which
can't
one?
remember.
Belly flop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it does. I'm pretty
Shame.
sure it's retire a friend to dismiss an opposing friend.
What does Belly Flop say? May we never have... Yes, it is dismiss an opposing.
Aw. Rip.
Anyway, hey, yeah, colorless resource or friend removal at a time delay, but the cost isn't that bad.
Yeah, it is restricted in terms of what it can hit, but the fact that you have any kind of fairly universal removal makes this just... This is too valuable to pass up in a lot of cases. Have a 4.
This is a fill-in-the-gap card. I can see very, very rare circumstances where a deck may opt to use this over using, like, either friend or resource disruption that's in its primary colors, but it's gonna be really rare when that happens. So this is a fallback strategy, which puts it distinctly mid at a 3.
I have it at a 3 for the same reasons.
3. It happens too late.
And then Bugle says a 3 only because it gives options some decks that don't have it. You should run other options if your color spelled with a U combo has access to something better.
When did Bugle move to the UK?
Bugle has always spelled color with a U.
I'm sure there's someone from Britland who would say the proper.
Did you just say
Britland.
Britland!
Yep. I've been saying Britland for years.
Okay.
I like it.
Britland. Like Cleveland.
Fun times in Britland today. Okay. Next turn.
Fine, I'm sticking with my 4. I'm being contrarian.
That's fine.
That's fine. I'm triggered already. 2's terrible 2's. 3 cost, 3 pink, rec, 3 power, event, immediate. Choose a non-chaos triggered ability of one of your friends. Trigger that ability as though its trigger condition was met. Triggered abilities start with the words when or at. You must still pay their costs, if any. I just wanted to say triggered again.
I'm triggered. Hi, hi, triggered. I'm dead.
So this is one of those cards like Connection Corkboard from New Generation where there is so much like high brain, big brain plays involved with this that
Yeah.
I have a hard time imagining this going in a large amount of decks just because most players I feel like are going to look at this and be like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that.
That sentence had too many syllables. Apologize.
That being said, the decks that can take advantage of this, I think will do well. I don't think they'll break the meta or anything, but it's definitely a cute trick that you can pull off. I have it at a 3.
I think it's a little better. I think it's a 3-5 because
The kind
there's
of
just
decks that run this are
interesting
going to
things
be
you
good.
can do. And like it will surprise your opponent.
It will surprise your opponent. At its baseline, this card is a more expensive color-shifted portal, right? Just if nothing else, you can think about it kind of like that.
Yeah, at the most basic, yeah.
But if you do just the next level up of the Galaxy Brain meme, then you start seeing some really crazy things happen, right? So Portal can trigger, enters play effects. This can trigger when you play effects. We've never had that happen before. So you can do things like Shining in Cadence, Royal Family, and get an immediate use out of them. It can do things like at the start or end of certain phases being triggered, like trigger Pinky Tricorn at some point, or trigger Selena Blue after you put the not banned Selena Blue, after you put like 20 critter friends at your home and you're like, man, I'd have to retire all these to home limit. Actually, I'm just going to draw 20 cards right now. It can do things like Discord Second Opinion, and you put a Discord into play with Royal Family and your opponent laughs at you because you can't read cards, and then you use this on their turn and then they realize that they can't read your brain. And in Harmony, you can just use this on Gyro, and that's hilarious. So
Okay, so I've got a degenerate combo with this.
okay, what you got?
We're going to play Trixie Guidance Counselor.
Oh, yeah, that's a fun one.
Because that ability has a rather annoying non-repeatable cost on it, and I don't like non-repeatable costs in my triggers. You know what's cool? If I can just sit there and just be like, actually just skip your next ready phase.
Now, admittedly, you're still going to have to pay the cost, so you'll still have to banish Trixie. This card specifically says so.
But being able to just randomly deny your opponent their card and tokens for a turn,
Oh,
that seems mean. I don't know
and
that that's
readying all their stuff.
yeah. I don't know that that's worth it, but
That is pretty good. It's not bad.
No, it's not bad.
I'm going to use this on Eager.
that's disgusting.
I'm going to pay 3 at immediate speed and spend a card so that I can draw a card.
Sounds good.
Nailed it.
Yeah, it's better than a 3. I don't quite know if it's a 4, but it is wacky. So 3/5.
Yeah, this deserves better than just a 3.
Yeah.
Like Portal. Okay, fine. Portal being expensive, but still Portal.
Don't you want to trigger Catajack at immediate speed? Not in purple. By the way, if you thought Main 6 was banned before, that card is never seeing the light of day.
Yeah.
Okay, what else dumb can we do here? Okay, so we're gonna get Claude out, right? And then turn a resource into a friend.
That's sure. That's pretty good. Why don't we just use it on Night Glider overpowering and just score 2 points?
You know what? I like the direct approach. That's good.
I mean, so we have a lot of possible things that you can do with it, but until I see a deck that really soars with it, I'm still sticking with a 3 under the generally useful definition.
It is a little high brain. I like the potential of this, but man, even I'm sitting there looking at a pony head list, putting 3 of this card in at the beginning, and then going,
getting to 48 cards and looking and just being like,
I don't know what to do.
Maybe this is like cheese sandwich where we just don't know the deck this is for yet. It's probably out there, but right now I'm not convinced it's more than a 3.
I mean, it's definitely in the Izzy White Royal Family, like, show and tell reanimator list. It definitely goes in there, but where else does it go? I don't know. We'll have to see.
And is it really more than just generally useful there? Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong. I want to see you prove me wrong with this, because I'm sure there's something crazy that can come from this.
It ain't gonna be me. I'm over here playing Shining Purple, man. I'm just playing the game.
Yeah, me too.
Hey! Bugle likes it. Bugle gives it a 4 for a better but more expensive Portal. That is really underselling it so much. That's doing the card such a disservice.
Okay. Next card.
Poison Joke. Okay. 1 cost, 3 rec in orange, 4 power for a resource condition that you play on a friend or boosted main character. I've seen that text before. And look, it's the same text. Immediate, exhaust this card. If you do, that character loses and can't have abilities until the end of the turn. When this card readies, you may reattach it to another character. Everyone was sad when Limestone rotated out, so we put Limestone in flowers, and then made her Golden Horseshoe. This card makes Shining Armor very sad.
Yeah.
Like, so sad. Ultra sad.
That's just his baseline state.
I mean, his baseline state is nerd. This is a very useful card for decks that don't have great options of removing resources. It's important to note, right? This card creates a modifier that exists independent of whatever happens to this card for the rest of that turn. So if you are trying to attack this with like a Rainbow Dash property damage, you're going to have to do so at the very first priority window on your turn, because if you don't and this effect goes off, that character's lost the abilities. It doesn't matter what you do to the card after that. It's gone for a turn.
Yeah. Mildly tricky.
It is also tricky because pink, yeah, you can do this with Silverstream. It won't cause the resource to fall off because you can technically play it on your own friend or your own boosted main. So you're going to have to keep doing Silverstream, paying the 1 AT tax every time. Like, it's probably good to have this type of effect in a format where we have mains that have incredibly powerful abilities, like Izzy or Shining or Cheese or Chrissy.
Are you mad? You
A
sound
little
mad.
bit. I'm a
Oh.
little mad. Have you played against Mono White Taxes recently? You'd be mad too.
Yeah, you would be.
Why wouldn't I be mad?
Yeah. It's a good card, and having the flexibility to reassign it. It's tricky to think of what deck specifically this is going to go in, but honestly, it's probably really good in Izzy Orange as a sideboard tool. And I think for that, it can have an extra half a point. It's a 3/5 from me.
This gets extra points just because it's so annoying.
I give it a 3.
And Bugle's like 4, no notes.
Yeah, I originally gave it a 4, but I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, no, this should probably be at a 3, only because it is still a sideboard, a good sideboard, but still a sideboard card. And if I gave Brayburn a 3 for that reason, I have to give this a 3 as well.
That's fair.
Okay. Next up.
You can do funny things with Handy with that card, though. Exhaust it, shut something off, ready it, reattach it, exhaust it, shut something else off.
Scrying Vessel. I like Twilight here. This was a good Twilight episode. Except for it was a
It wasn't a Twilight episode.
It was a Starlight. No, it was a Twilight episode.
It was a Twilight episode, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. It's Starlight going full Twilight,
Gloomy.
sure.
Yeah. Anyway, 3 power, 2 cost, 2 rec, purple. Play to your home. Opponents play with their hands revealed. When this card enters play, choose a card from an opponent's hand and banish it. When this card leaves play, put any cards banished this way back to their owner's hands. So, at the base level, this is a pay 2 to like temporarily remove an opponent's card from their hand. Now, it does continue having their hand revealed, which hand knowledge is actually quite important and good to have. But I don't know if it does super interesting stuff.
I'm just not sure if purple has enough room for this right now.
I mean, you're not gonna like randomly add it to a purple deck. You'd need to take a bigger advantage of it. And I don't really see how you do that other than just the normal hand disruption stuff we have. If you're just going all in and on, well, not necessarily all in, but pretty hard in on a hand.
I mean, yeah, but the hand the deck that we've seen recently, or in pretty much all of the hand disruption decks that we've seen, they are gonna have the hand knowledge anyway. So I don't see them needing to run this because they're going to see it anyway with Coriander.
Yeah, it's Coriander is core, right?
He is not.
Coriander's
not.
Adventure.
He's Adventure. Okay. Yeah.
But even in
What?
core, where you don't have like obvious hand knowledge cards, I don't know if purple's in a place to really take advantage of permanent hand knowledge. So I mean, I guess there's general uses for it, but I don't know. I'm not convinced. I have it at a 2.
Well,
Yeah, I have it at a 2 also.
you're making a really good argument for it having a low rating simply because this is fighting for card slots, and it's not going to have a good time doing that.
I agree for the most part with what you're saying, especially the fighting for card slots, right? Mono purple control is already suffering bloat and having to remove stuff from, to make room for blank flanks in there. So, what would it pull for Scrying Vessel, and will it actually do so? I don't know. You can make the argument that because it's a resource, it has better utility than an event, because you have ways to recur resources, you have ways to copy resources, right? Like Izzy Purple, we've never seen. This maybe could be part of that. That's not bad. I don't think that's the best argument for this card. I think the best argument for this card being above a 2, suffering from bloat, is combo in core gets to run a check to see if it should try to go off. You get, for 2 AT, you get to rip a card out of the opponent's hand and see if the shields are down. And if they are, fantastic, go for it. And if they're not, well, at least you know now what you're up against.
Simply for its utility and combo firing off.
Right. Or even if not combo, right, you can make the argument for like any big burst turn where it's going to be this massive momentum shift, a 5 or 6 point turn where you're going to be playing face-off tricks like one a bet or things, so it can have a 3 for that.
Yeah, that's all right, that's fair.
I can definitely see that argument for just being a generally useful card. I'm still just not comfortable putting it higher than a 2, but I've been wrong about purple cards before, so I will probably be proven wrong as well here, but I'll stick with 2.
I've also been really wrong about purple stuff though, so who knows?
Maybe. Especially in a purple aggro list. Yes, purple generates tokens, but that's still 2 tokens, and that's potentially a lot of stuff you're getting done. So,
I don't know.
Okay. Next. Bugle says basically the same thing. Have a 2, just not sure. Prove me wrong. Okay. Applejack, work harder, not smarter. This one's your fault. 4 power, 1 point. When this card is uncovered, exhaust all troublemakers here. Opposing.
Hold on, back up. Try that again. Exhaust all characters here, not troublemakers.
Exhaust yourself.
Exhaust all troublemakers here. Seems good. Exhaust all characters here. Opposing characters here don't ready during their controller's ready phase. At the start of a face-off involving this card, exhaust a random character here, including yours, so this uses the same rules as Chrissy does, so it will consider things that are exhausted and just not do anything. So, I'm mostly going to blame this one on you. I think there are orange decks that are going to be infuriating to play against that would like to run this.
I think there's one.
Yeah, I think there is exactly one.
And I think that that's probably good enough. Probably. That this gets a 3.5. Partially just because it's going to be infuriating. Yes, you have to run a relatively specific deck to take full advantage of this, but that deck is just like, yes, you're my card. You belong here.
I give this a 3. I think that, especially for core, this is a decent troublemaker, and it does some interesting stuff.
AJ as an individual card, I think, has a higher score than the AJ deck that she probably goes in. I have been a bit of a disbeliever when it comes to work hard, play hard. And she's just kind of been AWOL from the meta. Like, everyone knows that this is a deck that's looming out there and someone could put together.
But if it doesn't
But
make a meta appearance, then why bother countering it?
yeah, so it can go right in the middle of a 2-5 from me.
Yeah. Beagle says 2 unless you're AJ, presumably work hard, play hard, then have a 4.
I have it at a 2 as well.
So, highly
I'm just
conditional.
I'm just underwhelmed by the impact that this card would have in that deck. I think there's other better options. I mean, it's
Interesting.
fine, but I mean, it's a troublemaker that exhausts things.
It keeps them exhausted. That's the the mass permanent exhaustion that's going to make your AJ main 7 or 8 power. I think is pretty clutch. Although, again, one of those things yeah, it goes in AJ. What does the rest of the deck look like? I don't know.
Okay, so we're going with the terrible twos gambit here. All right, I'm gonna put AJ and then 3 of these things in here, and we're gonna see if it lasts until the end.
I mean, you can start building it, right? You're just thinking of the exhaust synergies. So you've got Melted Expectations and Talented Apple Bloom, and you've got Grogar to find this, and that's all fine. You're probably running some poison jokes in there too, and then Grand Pair to flip extra cards to protect your troublemakers, and your Consolation Prize while we're at it. Maybe some Monumental Evils to stop dilemmas, and we're at 20 some odd cards there. But again, what does it do? It exhausts stuff, and your main is big. Cool, I guess. What if I go wide? What if I play dilemmas? What if I have any number of the things that ready stuff right now? I don't know.
Maybe I just see orange as so absent from the meta right now that I'm just not convinced that this is a deck that will place highly, but it's also been absent, so maybe the deck is stupidly good and we just don't know it yet.
Man, that's going to be so terrifying if that's true. It just comes out of nowhere and just
Destroys everything.
Yeah, but that's funny.
It's funny until the top 2 decks in the meta are mono white control and mono orange control, and then everyone just leaves the CCG room to go do something else at the con. And lets AJ punch the bug in the face. And then
Do not the bug.
And then the bug claims
bugs.
the bug claims the deed to the farm because AJ didn't pay her taxes.
Well,
she's too libertarian for that. Maybe I'm just being a little too harsh here.
No, I mean that's fair.
But
you're that's valid.
I think a 2's fine. I'm a little bit more optimistic, but not by much. So
anyway,
last card.
Is it ice cream time? It's ice cream time. Okay, Sunday Intervention. 5 wild for both players. Not a starting problem. Players flip 1 fewer cards during Troublemaker face-offs here with 2 bonus. That's good.
yeah,
5/5/2. Okay.
Good potential counter to farm, or good for your own farming. A bit of a dangerous play using it for your own farming, but it is there.
could. That's interesting. It's a low bonus for the opponent, and or it's a low confront rec for the opponent with a high bonus, which I think was kind of the disincentive to maybe don't run this in farm and bully the opponent.
Yeah,
you still,
but like I say,
No bully.
it's a dangerous. Like, you're definitely playing with fire using this to farm your own stuff. But I mean, hey, you got protection hiding in your hand. Go for it, I guess.
Yeah, there's a gambit there.
I'm gonna play this with Professor Twy, and I'm gonna make Purple Farm work for real this time.
And especially if you have the kind of farm deck that it can get into bursts and can potentially hit both problems after it clears the troublemakers out. This maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
You have
It
to be
will definitely.
running Trader Bug for that to happen.
It will definitely work well with aggro decks that like to play low to the ground and just play a bunch of, 1-cost, 2-cost stuff and say, I don't want to run like a bunch of troublemaker hate. I'm just gonna, don't block me, bro.
Bro, just one less flip. One less flip, bro. That's all I need.
I just want to swinging wonders and have more power at the beginning and know that I'm gonna win.
Right?
I mean, that's also fair. As long as they don't run something that's like, and I flip 6 extra cards anyway. But at that point, you're dead, so why bother?
Automatically win all face-offs.
Yeah. This has
At
its
that
place.
point, you're dead, so why bother? Aracat 2025.
Yeah.
You could play this in Cheese Farm in core right now. You're right. It's a risky move, but it would work well. You'd have 8 power that automatically beats any troublemaker except Legion.
Yeah. 3. It's got a place.
Yeah,
it's a 3.
I think it's on 3.
On 3.
On 3.
No notes.
Yeah.
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 No, yeah, no, or yeah, no, yeah.
No, yeah, no.
Is
Yeah.
it time to talk about the 6 from Prize Wheel 4?
Yeah, let's talk
The
about this
6.
thing.
Yeah.
What is the 6?
All right.
What
Yeah.
are we talking about?
Now, this thing.
I've given this a 6. This 100% needs to be banned.
No, this
This
trash.
Look at him. Look at him. He knows what he did. He hasn't done it yet.
No.
Rainbow Shine 2.0.
No,
Ban
trash, utter garbage. 0.5.
That is the cold, unfeeling gaze of a mass psychopath right there. Look,
Yeah.
he already knows he's replaced the one who came before him. He's got the 2 right there on his chest.
Like, that's dark.
Is this from the cheese sandwich in the business
Yes.
episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where
yeah.
Boneless rotates the chair around and is just like,
The Last Laugh, I think, is called.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
makes the Among Us noise.
Oh, yeah.
Boom, boom, bum, bum.
Obviously, this is one gigantic joke. We're not actually rating Boneless.
No, 0.5.
If we're actually
mean,
rating him, I'm
It has
putting him at a
it
6.
has a 3. It has a 3 on it, so I think it's a 3.
But it's also got
Oh.
a 2 on it.
I was
It
gonna
has,
say,
it has
it has
a
a
1 on it.
it has a 2 on him. It's a 2.
He's literally 2. Like, it's defined right there.
He's a friend, and there are 6 letters in friends, therefore he's a 6.
Okay, but it's token.
There we go.
But it's token number 1, but there are 4 pips on the prize wheel thing. So he's somewhere between like 1 and 4.
He's T1 because he's tier 1. Tier 1's I'm gonna give it a 6 so that he gets out of the meta.
Wait, no. Wait. How can we justify a 5? There's got to be something.
How do we justify a 5? Why would we do that when we can keep justifying 6? There's 6 ponies on the prize wheel symbol. He's a 6.
The friend symbol.
okay,
the friend, the
I got
friend
it.
symbol
There's 5 beans. There's 5
Yes,
beans on
yeah,
the friend symbol.
yeah.
Oh, if you count
yes.
the big
The gr-
bean, sure.
Yes. 5 beans.
There we go. Okay, it's whatever. It's whatever rating you want.
Actually,
You know what?
There are
That's the most
there are-
appropriate thing. It's literally the Willy Wonka move. It's just what are we rating? It's whatever you want it to be.
there are 5 nails on the blue horseshoe in the friend symbol in the upper left-hand corner.
Okay, that's
Don't worry about the fact that there are 7 on the pink one. We're not talking about that one.
I'm more worried about ponies like having to get their horseshoes nailed on. That sounds painful.
They don't feel it. It's fine.
It's more painful to be walking on unshoed hooves.
True. Not all of us can afford the golden horse, like,
The
feet
boots.
slipper. Yeah, the boots with the fur.
I was waiting for that.
Okay. So I guess we have to remove those scores, which makes Aura the most optimistic. How about that?
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm the most pessimistic by far.
Blind optimism.
I get to end with 3 1/3.
Did you
I think he manipulated something.
arrange
No.
this?
I did not arrange it.
I think he's too tired to arrange it.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I think this is almost entirely caused by AJ. Come on.
Animoy does bring up the excellent point that boneless scores can't count because boneless doesn't go in any decks.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna redefine the box of like random stuff that you've got for placeholders to make that a deck in a zone, right? Okay.
No.
Okay,
Anyway.
I'm opening the
Your dice
floor
bag zone.
I'm opening the floor rules, banned players, Aura Cat.
Yeah, for the 11-year anniversary, we're gonna have our 3rd banned player ever. It's okay. He'll still do all the art though. Right?
I'll also ban myself in response.
There we go.
In response, I'm banning myself.
Like I'll ban Aura Cat, but then I'll also ban myself because I feel bad.
Okay, so we're doing like draft bans, right? Okay. Like in Dota or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Who are we banning? Ivory?
It's red team ban. Okay.
All right. Well, that will wrap up our discussion on this topic for today. On this topic.
Yeah. The sheet.
Anyway, come to BabsCon?
The sheet with the results. Anyway, come to BabsCon. The last year, well, actually, if you're not already going to BabsCon, you're going to have a hard time because they announced Violet Pony, and if they didn't have rooms sold out, they do now.
But why don't they have Ponyphonic?
But yeah, Babs is going to be a thing. So anyway, come to Babs.
Yep. Am I good to continue?
Yeah, you just needed to get the Babs plug in there.
That's fair. We would like to give a big shout out to all our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your regular support. If you aren't currently a patron and you enjoy what we do, please consider donating. Doing so does enable us to continue making content like this and lets you earn some great perks as a bonus. If you have comments or questions you'd like to send our way, feel free to reach out to us through Facebook, Twitter, or email. If you're a patron, you can also chat live with us on Slack most days, most times.
This is false. I'm trying to get my sleep schedule under control and have somewhat succeeded.
I have to leave for work at 5 in the morning. I'm gonna hate it.
Wow.
Yeah, only tomorrow though. Finally, if you're looking to watch any of our previous videos, including tournament recordings, you can find them on our YouTube channel, linked just below the stream. With all that said, thank you to each and every one of our viewers, both here now and watching this recording later. We are, as always, Commentary is Magic. I am, as always, Grand Paws.
Big Cheese?
Our cat, and
Ivory, Starlight, the pessimist, apparently.
yay, we got through it without, like, switching roles or making funny noises.
Hooray, we did it. She's go to bed.
We did it.
Right.
We did it,
Fell
chat.
for it, fool. Thunder cross split attack.
No.
Your shields were down.
My shields were down.
You should have played the
Should have played the cards.
scrying vessel.
Yep. Oh well. All right. Bye.
See you next time. Bye.